This show is so good. It's so good. I could make you think that I didn't like it and then say, oh, The Crown Season 4 is really good. Of course it's really good. It's The Crown. What is up, Netflix fans? Welcome back to my channel. The much-anticipated Season 4 of The Crown is here, or at least it will be tomorrow. Thank you to Netflix for providing me these screeners. We're going to talk about it in a non-spoiler fashion. A spoiler review is coming tomorrow, and if you like these videos, let me know. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button. And let's talk The Crown. So in the first episode, as Elizabeth welcomes Britain's first woman prime minister and Charles meets a young Diana Spencer, an IRA attack brings tragedy to the royal family. So I say non-spoiler review, obviously, based on true events, so there's not really much I can spoil here. What works so well about the show is, of course, the dialogue and the script and the way that it has been written for the previous 3 seasons, but this is the first time in Season 4 that we have had, in my opinion, so many of the memorable events that happen. I think a lot of people are going to kind of recall it if you're enveloped in history. Now, I'm not a huge history buff, but what I do know is that this captures the essence and the spirit of whatever time period or decade that they're dealing with so well, and this time we are in the era of Charles and Diana and Margaret Thatcher. Margaret Thatcher is going to be the main topic of this review because it is indeed, like everyone's going to say in their reviews, I'm sure, the best part of this season. We know some of these side characters give some of the better performances of any show that you're going to see all year, but it's the newcomers, in my opinion, whether it's Diana lacking confidence, so unsure of what she's getting herself into, and then once she's engrossed in this entire royal situation with all of her friends and family saying, oh my gosh, making fun of the fact that she's a princess, oh, they're serving you hand and foot, but such a fish out of water situation. And it's not until later on in the season when she finally has one of my favorite discussions in the entire season with Charles saying, hey, unless we start to actually talk to each other and tell each other how we feel, then this isn't necessarily going to work. I know we have to put up that front in public, but behind the scenes is where everything is not necessarily falling apart, but where everything isn't as good as people perceive. That conversation was great when it comes, and not that things turn around completely, but we also get a bit of insight into how Charles is feeling throughout this entire situation. So that really is kind of the main focus of this season, that relationship between Charles and Diana, and obviously we know where it goes eventually, but we're not quite there yet. Back to Gillian Anderson as Margaret Thatcher, who is, and I don't want to say revolutionary because we've seen Margaret Thatcher portrayed on screen before. I mean, my goodness, Meryl Streep played Margaret Thatcher, but, and I know some may not agree with me on this, but I think this is the best interpretation we have seen. From the voice to the mannerisms, going back and watching multiple interviews, I tried to search as many YouTube videos I could find just to give a comparison and contrast on the performance that she gave us and what we got in real life, and I didn't spot much of a difference. It's one of the best portrayals I have ever seen on Netflix. She's phenomenal. In my opinion, she is a lock for the Emmy, as are multiple individuals throughout this season. The Crown Season 4 is so well written, so well paced. The story is just so ridiculously layered with characters that we already know and love. Helena Bonham Carter is another standout who isn't necessarily in this season as much this time around, but she's great. I haven't even mentioned Emma Corrin, who plays Diana Spencer this season. Josh O'Connor, who portrays Prince Charles. It all really comes down to their chemistry or lack thereof at first, and how she begins to fit into the fold of royalty. And I just love the subtle elements of these characters, how they can appear in one episode and you keep that in the back of your mind, and then 3 episodes later they bring up a conversation that was extremely important. It's definitely a show that you have to pay attention to, but you've watched it for 3 seasons, so we all know how in depth they're willing to go. There's the conversation maybe 4 episodes in the Queen is having with her husband, and she talks about how Margaret Thatcher has a favorite child. And then he says to her, well, of course she has a favorite child. I have a favorite child. And the fact that you do not have a favorite child, it tells me that you're somewhat lying to yourself. And that gets her thinking. And it's that unsure element that Olivia Colman displays so well. Even at the beginning beginning when Thatcher first shows up, and the fact that this is the first woman prime minister coming from the Conservative Party. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic for sure. And then the fact that Thatcher is just, she's kind of awkward. Whether it comes to social situations, there's one point where they play a game and they're kind of all going back and forth. It gets to Thatcher and just such an awkward moment. So many awkward moments with her, but she is such a determined and focused leader. That doesn't matter to her. At the end of the day, she's going to do what she does, whether it's that or the relationship with one of her sons who gets in a bit of an awkward situation. They sit down, have dinner, and it's just, he's the worst. He's unaware of his surroundings, even a conversation between her husband and the daughter saying, it's just a mother-son thing, ignore it. There's really nothing we can do, but according to so many, she is such a good leader, that doesn't matter. Now, when it comes to some civilians, maybe they don't necessarily agree with her methods. She is pushing for war in this season, and again, this is history, something I'm not crazy familiar with, but not everyone agrees with her methods. And episode 5, we see the fallout and the frustration that some have with her leadership. We also get a peek, a bit of an insight into a brand new character that doesn't stick around for very long. His name is Michael, and in 1982, he sits down and has a conversation that was, to me, the definitive moment of the season, or at least the definitive moment when it comes to the Queen's storyline. This episode is incredible, and it seems so out of left field at first. It explores the life of this character who's dealing with unemployment. He lost his kids in a custody battle, and so many things that are happening prior to this very famous moment in history, and it's that conversation that they have at the end of that episode that was just remarkable. And not that the show is bad at all, but there may be moments where we get conversations or subplots that aren't as interesting as our main stories happening. And that episode, episode 5, really rejuvenated my love that I already had for this season and just locked me in even further for the rest of the season and seeing these historical events play out, portrayed by these brilliant actors and actresses. The direction, of course, on a technical level, I don't have to talk about it. You guys know. It's going to look good. It's going to sound good. The score is so subtle, and I keep using the word subtle. Subtleties are what The Crown is all about, and recreating these historical situations that you have seen glimpses of, whether it's photos or videos of before, and seeing that now play out with these interpretations of these characters and getting a peek into history as we have for the previous 3 seasons. But it's almost like some of these historical events are maybe even more entertaining than some of the prior, because while a lot of people are familiar with, obviously, Queen Elizabeth, this and that, a lot of people know Charles and Diana. A lot of people know Margaret Thatcher, and we have been salivating, waiting for them to come on screen, and this is displayed in the best way possible. I don't know how they could have done it any better. My only minor criticism is, like I said, at points, the pacing may falter just a bit, but playing out these things that actually happen, you kind of have to do that, even though, of course, as The Crown always does, we're skipping through time and kind of playing out events that actually happened in history. But The Crown Season 4 overall is an absolute gem, an absolute delight. I thought it was possibly the most well-written season of television I've seen in quite some time. One of my favorite seasons of television of the entire year. It's really hard to play the comparison game when it comes to the previous 3 seasons, but all I will tell you is it stays extremely consistent, and everything that you're looking forward to, don't go past a certain year. I will not say what that is yet. We will get that in the next season. They've already cast, they're already dealing with what's happening next, and that's when we get into the really juicy moments of history. So, of course, I'm excited for that. Come back tomorrow. We're going to be talking spoilers to see how this show wrapped up and how they're going to deal with the fallout of so many events that happened this season. Oh, and right off the bat, when this season starts, you get a really tragic event, and that just kind of, wow, we're already here, and we're only in, the first, the second episode. So The Crown Season 4, my score is going to be a 95%. Just riveting. Absolutely riveting. Margaret Thatcher alone. I cannot wait to see how the audience responds to her performance. It is just phenomenal. But don't overlook Charles and Diana. That relationship, how it turns, the character arcs there, I think are some of the best I've seen all year. I'm repeating myself now. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Loved binging through The Crown Season 4. And again, thanks to Netflix for providing me this season. I'll be back very soon with more Netflix content reviews. And maybe a British accent? Probably not. I would ruin it.